On this week's episode of Bayou Wild TV.
You know, with today's smaller and tighter restrictions, it's more important than ever to release fish to prevent mortality.
You know, you can come down and have the most amazing fishing that you can have anywhere else in the world, but we got to protect it, and that's what we're here for today. Is rebuilding a famous reef, and for everybody to enjoy.
Hey, we're in Grand Isle collecting adult redfish, bull reds as they call them, for the first ever redfish stocking program.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Global Outdoors. Find your next adventure and share your experiences with others by downloading the Global Outdoors mobile app or visiting globaloutdoors.com.
Every day, we strive to preserve traditions that have spanned generations.
Around every turn of the bayou, Mother Nature reveals unique people, places, and experiences.
And the bounty of animals and fish. Well, in Louisiana, we just call that lagniappe. I'm Don Dubuque.
I'm Chris LeCoq.
I'm Captain Martha Spencer. Join us as we document the adventure,
Sportsmanship,
and heritage that make us Bayou Wild. Everyone knows Louisiana is the sportsman's paradise. For Bayou Wild TV, we've enjoyed documenting the numerous opportunities to catch fish in Louisiana coastal waters. From first-timers to special guests and the everyday angler. But today, we're taking on a different mission, highlighting the efforts to release, rebuild, and reload to ensure future generations can continue to enjoy this bountiful outdoor paradise. When the saltwater regulations changed in Louisiana for speckled trout and redfish, we thought it was necessary to bring to awareness, create awareness for fishermen to take better care of their fish to release them to fight another day, because we've only got a limited resource, and the more of those fish that we can guarantee survival, the better the fishing will be for the future. Coming up next.
Work that fish back and forth, make sure his gills are opening and closing, let him get out of your hand. Don't just let go of him or throw him back over the side because you want to catch that next fish. Take some extra time to make sure, especially in the summer months. When that water's hot, if that fish has fought for a long time, it's going to take a little bit longer for him to recover before it can swim away.
All right, there he goes.
One of the reasons why Double D has been around for 50 years is because we are consistent with what built the business. And we go to great lengths to make sure that when you bring a deer or a hog or whatever it may be, your meat stays your meat all the way through the process. But we want to be as true to the original intent, which is a local meat company. And that's something that we want to maintain for as long as the Lord lets us do it.
This is Don Dubuque asking you to join me as a member of the Coastal Conservation Association. For 30 years, CCA has worked in Louisiana to conserve our incredible fisheries, making sure that our fishing is great today and for generations to come. Whether looking out for redfish and specks, eliminating gill nets, building reefs across the coast, or work at the state capitol and in D.C., CCA is doing what's best for the fish and the sport we love so much. Your $30 membership will ensure that this work and our great fishing endures well into the future. Go to ccalouisiana.com and join CCA today. Become a supporter of the Louisiana Wildlife Agents Association today by visiting supportlwaa.org. Browse the selection of exclusive gear, including t-shirts in a variety of colors and styles, plus hats, koozies, and more. Gear up today and support the LWAA.
Continuing this week's episode, we're on Lake Pontchartrain with Angling Adventures of Louisiana. Today's trip isn't about the catch, but rather the release. We're calling it ReleaSense.
You know, with today's smaller and tighter restrictions, it's more important than ever to release fish to prevent mortality.
Undersized trout, we should handle as quickly as possible, and especially if you kind of have a guess that it's an undersized trout. Get it to the boat, you can lift it up, grab a hold of the line so the fish doesn't end up on the floor of the boat. You don't want that fish hitting the hot floor of the boat. That's one of the worst things for it. And handle it with wet hands at that point. So you get your hand wet, hold the fish, de-hook it, and then you can check the length on your board if you need to, and then get it back in the water as quickly as possible. Most people aren't going to take pictures of an undersized trout anyway. So the idea is keep it wet and get it back in the water as soon as you can.
These are a handful of tips that you can easily practice to make sure that the smaller fish you release today can survive to become a larger, healthier fish tomorrow.
You know, when you're catching speckled trout and they're this size, you need to get them back in the water pretty quickly. We want to protect these for the future.
Work that fish back and forth, make sure his gills are opening and closing. Let him get out of your hand. Don't just let go of him or throw him back over the side because you want to catch that next fish. Take some extra time to make sure, especially in the summer months. When that water's hot, if that fish has fought for a long time, it's going to take a little bit longer for him to recover before it can swim away.
All right, there he goes.
Today we came out with Captain Mike Gallo on Lake Pontchartrain to record some ReleaSense tips. Some good common sense tips that CCA is promoting to bring this to the attention of fishermen so that they'll abide by some of these, save a lot of fish, as many as we can, so that we can increase those limits back one day to where they once were. He got off.
I want one.
No, he's still there.
A little one. Yes.
If you gut hook a fish, particularly a small fish, it's better to clip the line away and let the fish swim with the hook rather than risk damaging the gills or the intestines.
There's more damage that's going to incur to his internal organs if you take that hook and try to get it out by reversing it with a hook out tool. And a lot of times the hook at the back of the throat is very close to the heart circulatory system. At the back of that gill cavity is actually where all that's located. You're going to do more damage wrenching on that hook trying to get it out than if that hook rusts out and eventually falls out of the fish. He's got a higher % chance of survival by just leaving that hook in there and just cutting the line off.
So folks, when you're taking that picture with your buddies, make sure you hold it sideways like this. Don't hang it upside down. It's not good for the fish.
When you're handling a large fish you want to take pictures of, if you hold it by its jaw only with like a boga grip, it could dislocate the jaw, and it can also damage internal organs because the gravity's pulling them in an unnatural position. It's better to hold the fish this way and support the body weight on the belly and in the head. In the water, they're supported partially by the buoyancy of the water, all their internal organs. They're not used to being hung in full gravity this way.
It's been quite a while since we've had any regulation changes, and now that the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries biologists feel that it's warranted, it's been my experience in the past that a lot of fishermen are reluctant to support those changes, even though they suspect or even know that it's warranted. And the reason is because they're afraid that they're never going to go back. I hear that all the time, fishermen saying once they take it away, they never give it back. Well, I'm here to tell you that we can get those regulations changed and relaxed back if, in fact, the population supports it. You know, one of the things that I noticed CCA has been real, I guess you'd say, up to date on is making sure that when we do change these regulations, there is a sunset or at least an out clause to where if things change and we find out we've got an overabundance of fish like we had with the red snapper, we can go ahead and relax those regulations.
Absolutely. Look, there's no reason to do something and do it for eternity. Look, we've been very slow at moving regulations over time in Louisiana, but when you do make them, our economy depends on it. Our culture depends on it. So let's see what we can do, what effects that we can have, and then, you know, if we need to change them back, we can.
Well, we had early flounder changes. That seems to have been working. Now we got speckled trout and reds. That's the two biggies. Do you see anything coming down the pike on maybe sheephead or drum or any other
No,
species?
I do see a handful of changes probably coming on the offshore world. I see people looking at amberjack and mangrove and state management versus federal management. And so I think you'll have some of those changes. Other than that, I think on the inshore, at least what we see coming down the pipe, we want to see what affects the new POGI regulations and a handful of other things that Wildlife and Fisheries is doing and what impacts those can have. Because truly, we feel that those type of regulations could have an even greater impact than adjusting the recreational creel limit.
I think it's good to remind fishermen that they've got a vested interest in successful catch and release, because that's when we might be able to get back to those days of bigger fish, more fish, larger creel limits, and longer seasons in some cases.
Absolutely. Look, we did this for a reason. Wildlife and Fisheries did this for a reason. So take part in it. The ones that don't fit the size limit, get them back in the water, get them, make them safe, and let them grow.
Coming up next, from releasing to rebuilding, we're headed down to Grand Isle to get a glimpse at one of Louisiana's newest artificial reefs.
We're restoring one of the most important marine ecosystems for anglers off of the coast of Grand Isle, Hotel Sid. As you know, Hotel Sid's famous place. The whole platform created so much great fishing, me included. I've caught a lot of trout in here. But when the rig got decommissioned and they took out the structure, something had to be done. And this is where these great state agencies like Wildlife and Fisheries and nonprofits like CCA comes together with corporations to come up with the money, the funding, and the know-how to restore this great fishing area, restore a reef, create a marine ecosystem that countless species will live on.
Delta Marina is Plaquemines Parish fishing one-stop. Get live bait, fuel, ice, tackle, and marine supplies. Then launch into the world's most productive saltwater fishing. Return to the fishing cleaning station, relax in first-class cabins overlooking the bayou, all in Delta Marina's safety video-monitored parking lot. Need a fishing charter guide? Delta Marina can hook you up. Cook your catch in your kitchenette or dine in the upstairs restaurant. Visit Delta Marina for a day or a week. Stop in just off Highway 11 down Rosemarie Drive in Empire. Visit thedeltamarina.com.
In Louisiana, food brings everyone together. These are the flavors that make friends out of total strangers. The flavors that remind you of home. It's the meals you crave, that take time, that show love. Because in Louisiana, we cook. And we know that when we come together to cook and eat, life gets better. So pull up a chair, leave room for seconds, and pass a good time. Because life needs Louisiana flavor, baby.
You're watching Bayou TV, award-winning outdoor programming. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or visit the website BayouWildTV.com to watch past episodes. It's a big day in Grand Isle for a rebuild. Anglers, outdoor enthusiasts, and members of the media are gathered for the deployment of one of CCA Louisiana's newest artificial reefs, and this one is special, thanks to the generosity of Todd Graves and Raising Cane's. We're in Grand Isle with Todd Graves, Raising Cane's. We're not going fishing, but we do have something special in mind for you, right?
Yes, we do. It's going to be a short boat ride, and Don, I can't wait to show you.
Let's go do it. With Louisiana's coastline ever-changing, it's the mission of the Coastal Conservation Association to rebuild and replace habitat for saltwater fish species. Today's reef is replacing structure from a well-known oil and gas platform and popular fishing spot near Grand Isle known as Hotel Sid.
2, and mine's shy. 3.
Think about the very first project we ever did, which wasn't far from here, Independence Island. You could actually probably see it from where we're sitting here. And really all we did was we pulled a barge out there and dumped a bunch of limestone over it. Now there's so much more that goes into it, whether it be 3D printed concrete, the pre-site analysis, the post-site analysis that we do, the way we design these reefs. It's really changed.
You know, we've been talking about this and planning to rebuild the reef here at Hotel Sid, but seeing it actually go in the water just fills me with pride.
With Natrix, we have put multiple reefs in the water, typically in partnership with somebody like the Coastal Conservation Association. And we've put reefs down that are already producing habitat for people to fish at. So that's been one of the fun things we do. We get to restore a place for people to recreate. In addition to that, we've also helped stabilize the shoreline. So we can deploy the units either as a reef that we can fish at or as a shoreline stabilization opportunity to protect the wave action as it comes on shore and help save that coastline so that we stop the erosion and we stop the encroachment of water to the places that we're living.
Over the years, not only have we built a lot of reefs, but we've learned from each of those reefs about how to do it better for the next one. And so we'll learn things from this project we're doing today out here at Hotel Sid that will help us build better reefs the next time. And so, as you heard Todd talk earlier today about how not only is he doing today, but he's going to do 4 more in the coming months. So what we've learned today will be implemented in those projects and make them even better as time goes on.
We're in Grand Isle, about 2 miles offshore. We're here with the Secretary of Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, Madison Shahan, and also Todd Graves of Raising Cane's. And it's because of you two here, and of course CCA, this is happening. What's going on behind us right here?
Well, we're restoring one of the most important marine ecosystems for anglers off the coast of Grand Isle, Hotel Sid. As you know, Hotel Sid is a famous place. The old platform created so much great fishing, me included. I caught a lot of trout here. But when the rig got decommissioned and they took out the structure, something had to be done. And this is where these great state agencies like Wildlife and Fisheries and nonprofits like CCA comes together with corporations to come up with the money, the funding, and the know-how to restore this great fishing area, restore a reef, create a marine ecosystem that countless species will live in.
Well, besides creating a habitat where there'll be endless fish to be caught, it's also an investment in Louisiana and in Grand Isle, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, it's just as much as I'm excited about being sustainable fishing, I'm even more excited about it being sustainable for the people that live here, right? Anglers spend money. They need to buy fuel and bait and stay in hotels and hire charter captains and so on. And that income's important. They need to support their families. So it's just a win-win for all.
Well, the people of Louisiana are eternally grateful. Madison, you ended up finding some bucks to put along with Todd's money, didn't you?
Absolutely. So we have a great partnership not only with CCA but outside partners. Anytime we can bring the public sector together with the private sector, I think is a great opportunity for the people of Louisiana. Our goal is to serve the sportsman's paradise, do everything we can to serve the sportsmen, create more opportunity to be able to get out and fish. Thanks to Todd Graves, CCA, and various partners, we're able to do that today. And it's truly an incredible opportunity for the sportsmen, for us to engage the local community and the state as a whole to get more people out on the water.
And there should be a lot more of these coming down the pipe.
There should be a lot more. Not only did Todd donate another 4 reefs, have a match donation from the department to be able to put these reefs in the ground. Look forward to whatever they come up with the next set of names. I'm excited to be able to get out on the water, get more reefs into the ground, and create more opportunities for our anglers.
So let's try to get a reunion, and when the fish start biting here, let's make a trip back.
This spring we're going to do that.
All right, and you'll see it too.
Well, it's such a big deal for us at CCA to have a brand like Raising Cane's and a guy like Todd involved with this, it elevates the status of our entire program, and hopefully, as Todd said earlier today, hopefully it'll inspire others that are in a situation like him to get involved, help us build that next project. And so it can't be understated what a big deal it is for us to have Raising Cane's and Todd involved with this today. And we're so thankful for all these partners. This is a project that people in Grand Isle have been clamoring for since this platform was removed a couple of years ago. So to be out here, be able to see it go back in the water, create this new habitat, and do it with, a partner like Cane's and the rest of our crew out here is really something special.
Hi, I'm Olivia Grace George, Miss Louisiana 2024. Did you know that Louisiana is one of the world's leading producers of propane gas? Of course, it's used for cooking, cleaning clothes, and heating homes, but it's always been used on farms and businesses across our state, as well as school buses and light-duty trucks. As America looks to cleaner, greener alternative fuels for our future, Louisiana's propane dealers stand ready to meet the need. For more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
We love our children. We protect them. We guide them. We prepare them for life in the world. With all that we do, from deep in our hearts, we cannot control all things. Life-threatening illnesses and disabilities affect far too many of our children each year. While we cannot change the circumstance, we can make dreams come true. Dreams to provide hope, to provide spiritual healing and strength, to provide moments of happiness and relief in the hardest of times. We can give a glimmer of light and hope in a time of darkness and despair. Join huntofalifetime.org to help make dreams come true, to provide hope for children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Hunt of a Lifetime is a nonprofit organization fulfilling dreams for hunting and fishing trips to youth 21 and under with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Visit huntofalifetime.org to learn how you can make a difference.
The final phase in this week's episode is the reload. Here at the annual Ride the Bull in Grand Isle, kayak anglers by the hundreds fill Caminada Pass for a chance to land a massive bull redfish.
Ride the Bull is one of the biggest tournaments here. It's perfect timing at the time, because when you put it in August like that, we're finding out that the bull reds are coming all along the passes. So between the paddleboard and the kayaks, and just to go on that bridge and take pictures and video all that, it's amazing. You had over 800 of them come from all over the world. And it's a big thing, and they monitor it real well. CCA is on top of that, working with the Coast Guard, working with Wildlife Fishery. So it brings a big crowd in, and it helps the economy back on the island.
Ride the Bull 13. Whew. It's a little breezy. An incredibly hard tide, and so we just blew the horn. Everybody's kind of scattered out, and we bring in the boundaries, try to keep everybody safe, get them out of the swells, and we got a lot of chase boats out here helping do that. So hopefully the fish are going to turn on any minute, and let the fun begin.
Well done, man. Love it!
Today, a handful of these mature reds will be the brood stock for Louisiana's first ever redfish restocking program, spearheaded by the Recreational Fisheries Research Institute.
Hey, we're in Grand Isle collecting adult redfish, bull reds as they call them, for the first ever redfish stocking program this year. Saturday, August 24th, we're out here in conjunction with CCA Ride the Bull tournament. We got about 15 bull reds in. We got Dr. Pillar from Southeastern University here doing our genetic work. And University of Southern Mississippi is the hatchery that's going to help us reproduce these fish. And they're doing their thing with the fish, acclimating them into the tank to bring them back to the hatchery. Real excited. I think it was a successful day despite all this weather. And again, this is the first time this has ever been done in Louisiana, and we hope by the fall or the spring to be bringing back 100,000 2-3-inch fish to be released in Louisiana. Dr. Pilla, tell us about how important the genetic piece is. I mean, that's the key to it all, I think.
This is really important because it gives us an idea of the success of this stocking program. It gives us an idea if the money that's going into it is really worth it or not. So we're taking fin clips of all the parents they're going to take back to Mississippi. Then we're going to genotype all of them, which basically gather genetic information on the parents, and then we're going to be able to determine a year or two from now, when someone catches a fish, where they're released, if they're hatchery derived or if they're wild derived fishes. And so really give a good baseline information on the success of this project.
Which is really, what else is really cool about this traditional tagging, you can only say that fish was from the hatchery or not. With the genetic tagging, I think we can look a generation or two down, we can see if that's offspring of a fish we release, which is super cool.
When Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries determined that the redfish population was underpopulated and something had to be done, RFRI, Recreational Fisheries Research Institute, stepped up, immediately joined up with some sponsors, and decided to institute Louisiana's first ever redfish restocking, or as we call it, redfish reloading project. And we're documenting that to show you what goes into keeping the redfish population healthy for future generations.
We got 11 bull reds in here. Our goal was to get 8 to 10, so we got a couple extra. We need a nice ratio of at least 5 females and 3 males. I think we got that. We got a few fish to spare. Everything went off perfectly, despite the beautiful weather and windy wind. Everything was great. Great team, great effort. We championed through it, and I'm super excited. I can't even believe it. Can't even believe we finally got to this day and we got it done. So yeah, the fish all been, they've been individually tagged. They had their freshwater bath. They had their antibiotics. Now they're loaded in the truck for about a 3 or 4 hour drive back to the hatchery in Southern Mississippi, University of Southern Mississippi, where they'll start tricking them into reproducing by manipulating the temperature in the photo period, and hopefully in 180 days or sooner, they'll start reproducing. And then we'll have eggs, fertilized eggs. We'll hatch them, start growing them out to 2 to 3 inches. Then they're gonna make a trip back to Louisiana where we're gonna meet again and release them.
As anglers, we can't help but be excited about these efforts to release, rebuild, and reload.
Going all over, you know, everybody wants to hear about Louisiana. It's such a famous place, and I get to tell them about all the wonderful things we have, the people, the food, the culture, and then that it's a sportsman's paradise. And you know, you can come down and have the most amazing fishing that you can have anywhere else in the world. But we got to protect it, and that's what we're here for today. Is rebuilding a famous reef, and for everybody to enjoy.
And for our Bayou Wild team, there'll be more to show in a future episode. So be on the lookout for more adventure, sportsmanship, and heritage of Bayou Wild.